Gino, and in today's book review, I have a book with actually one of my favorite letters in the alphabet because of my last name. And today's book, the book that we have for today, is different. But the reason why it's different is because it is all based on something that we all need to live by. And we need to live by something in order to build our habits, in order to enhance our disciplinary actions, in order to stay focused, in order to think of ideas, and more importantly, in order to wake up in the morning. So this little thing that we all live by every day in order to be successful is called a code. We all have a code, and we all have a routine, and we all have a system as to how we focus, and how we beat the system, how we beat our distractions, and how we just discipline ourselves. Now, when it comes to discipline, I did a book review on here called The Power of Discipline, and something it mentions in that book, which I'll repeat again, I believe I say it in the episode, is there are hundreds of ways to be successful. However, no one has the discipline to do those ways. Because there are hundreds of ways to be successful, but you have to have the discipline in order to do them. So, the book I have for you is called The G Code, or just G Code by Ryan Stewman. Now, the G Code. You're probably wondering, that is what I was saying earlier about a code. I say it earlier, more like a few seconds ago. But it just has a G in front of it, and the reason why, that's my favorite letters, because that's what my last name starts with. And there's something called the G Code that is a very interesting thing to say out loud, just the G Code. I like the way it sounds. But on the back of the book, it says G Code. An invisible algorithm called the force of average controls this planet. It has one weapon that it uses against us on a daily basis: distraction. The way to fight the FOA and its weapon of mass destruction is with a human superpower that exists in us all. That superpower is focus. When you focus and get in the zone, the impossible becomes possible. This is developing extreme focus and fighting the force of average in your life. What you focus on becomes reality. And this book teaches you to focus on what you want, not what life deals your way. So, I honestly like that. Now, I read that just because the force of average. To be honest, in my opinion, there are people who want to be average out there, but in reality, I think no one wants to be average. Everyone wants to be different. Like, trade work pays super well, but there are some people who are like, you know what? I don't really want to do trade work. I don't want to do construction. I don't want to be an electrician. I don't want to do plumbing or maintenance. Like, I'm just not into that, and that's fine. I do believe in life you have to do what you want to do. You should follow your dreams and do what you want to do in life. Now, I also understand sometimes things may not work out, but that's so you don't live in regret, you at least tried. However, I do believe that you have to follow your dreams in life. You have to be. You have to. But now, we're going to dive into the book here, and we're going to dive into the G Code. Now, I say we're about to dive in. Before we get into the G Code, something that I did remember when I read this book is I had someone from the gym actually recommend it to me. And he mentioned that the G Code, the way it is, how this book ends, we won't review it today, probably in a later episode when I start re-reviewing books, is the G Code is a way to live your life. It is a way to stay focused and forbid yourself from distraction. Now, I'll probably get to that at a later date, but that's what this book is. The G Code is supposed to be an unbeatable system that you have, that you live your life by every day. Just the reason code, your habits, your discipline, the things you do to be successful, your waking up in the morning, all exists around a code that you have developed for yourself. Now let's dive into the book here. So the first thing that I have for you all is this. Now this is in the introduction, which part of the reason I review stuff from the introduction, which I haven't mentioned in these earlier episodes, is that it shows you kind of what you're getting into, but also gets you really hooked on what you're about to read. So if you ever write books, your introduction, through my years of reading, is the key. The key to getting your audience hooked with what you're reading, the introduction. So in this introduction part of the book, this is what it has to say. That got me hooked when I read it a few years ago. The first fact that I want you to know is that distractions are killing you. This might seem really overwhelming to hear because life is full of distractions. But you can't give in to them, no matter how many there are, because when you do, those distractions take your power away. The second fact that I want you to know is that your power is your ability to focus. When you're not focused, you're not productive. And when you're not productive, you can't win. So think about that for a second. When you're not productive, you can't win. When you're not focused, you're not productive. And when you're not productive, you can't win. So think about that. When you're not focused, you're not productive. And when you're not productive, you can't win. So the reason why we all think about that is because I think that's what they call it nowadays. It's called doom scrolling, where you just flip through your phone and just look at stuff, and then before you know it, 20, 30 minutes goes by and you're like, wow, where did the time go? That. Now, I look at fitness stuff when I'm flipping through my phone, or when I'm at my job and doing my breaks, I flip through my phone. But something that I've developed is a little key here that, a code that I've been living by myself is, I've been wanting to learn more about fitness and the science of it, how muscle growth goes, and I've been watching videos of how to build muscle, taking notes over them. Instead of flipping through my phone social media, I've been studying those notes during my breaks at work, during my breaks during workouts, and even when I'm just at home, sitting on the couch, that's just something I've been doing. Now, you're probably wondering, well, why do you do that? Because for one, doom scrolling gets you nowhere. It gets you nowhere. And also, it's dangerous when you just look at girls through your doom scrolling. And the reason why doom scrolling is just in general, it's more dangerous when you're just looking at girls, but the reason why it's dangerous is because it does nothing for you. You should not care how everyone's life is doing. It should only be yours. You should not have to be like, well, I have to see what she's doing, I have to see what my friends are doing. You don't have to see any of that. Because your life is the only one, not the only one that matters. I mean, you have to care about people, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying, and everyone matters, but what I'm saying is, when it comes to your life and focusing on you and making yourself a better person and building yourself up, doom scrolling will not do that. You can't be caring about where everyone's at. You can't be seeing what everyone... Like, you don't have to see and you don't have to care where everyone's at through social media. You do not have to do that. And keep in mind, I said doom scrolling is dangerous. It is dangerous for that reason. Especially if you have a schedule. If you spend that 1 hour you have instead of trying to learn something, you're just doom scrolling on your phone. Yep. You just wasted an hour of your life. And there's also nothing wrong with that. You might want to relax and just see what's going on, but it's something that you can't do every day. It just can't be. And also, the other thing that it says here is, the second fact that I want you to know is that your power is your ability to focus. Now, when it comes to focus, I have ADD. I struggle to focus. I'm prescribed Adderall, and it helps tremendously. But let's say I don't take my medication, and let's say I'm tired. When it comes to your ability to focus, your main, not source, but your main thing you should be thinking about is, what am I going to do to keep myself focused today? What am I going to do to not doom scroll? What am I going to do to perform well at my job? What am I going to do to stay focused before bed so I can get everything in and get a good night's sleep? What am I going to do to remember my medication? See, that is what focusing on your focus is. You focus on the habits and the things that help you perform. And then you take those habits and you do them every day. See, with learning how to fight, I have trained my brain to tell myself, alright, we're going to go in. I usually pray about it before I go in, but I tell myself, we're going to come here to focus, we're going to come here to learn, and lastly is kind of the most important part, but also the least important part. But lastly is just have fun. Why? Because I'm not training to be a fighter in the UFC, I'm just training to fight and develop a little bit of skills. So honestly, having fun with it's not bad, but you still have to focus and you still have to learn. Now the next thing, or actually before he goes, distractions are killing you. That's what doom scrolling does. It kills you. It eats you from the inside out. And you might think, well gee, that's kind of intense. That's what it does. It's dangerous and does not get you anywhere any farther in life. Now the next thing I have for you all Now, think about this when I talk about, it's about tweaking a product. Now, before I get back to tweaking a product, listen to this little paragraph I have for you. This is another reason why most people are so distracted by so many things at once. They're scared to finish one thing because of their fear of judgment. It's easier and less painful to turn their efforts to the next project. It's true that when you tweak a product to make it right, the world will judge you. This is going to happen no matter what you decide to do. But it doesn't matter. Your job is to stay focused no matter what. So for example, it's like having a good idea and someone tells you that's a horrible idea, or someone tells you that idea won't work, and then say it doesn't work. Alright, fine. You let it go, you shake it off, you get back to being focused, and you work on the next idea. I didn't think about this till years later, how important it is to focus. But honestly, if you really think about it, focusing is so important. Focusing on your surroundings, doubling your efforts and things that you struggle with. Thinking about what you need to get done faster so you have more hours within the day. Like, focusing on everything and things that are bringing you down is super important. And doubling your efforts to increase your focus so you don't deal with not having time to do anything fun and not having time to relax or anything, because you have to relax in life. You have to take a break and you have to breathe a little bit. You just have to. Now, for focus and tweaking a product, for example, you can't be afraid to have new ideas. You can't be. You can't be afraid to be disciplined and to throw in different things in your schedule to be more disciplined and or increase your habits and or develop better habits. As in, if one night you want to let yourself sleep and not go to a bar with your friends. Alright, fine. Alright, fine. Just tell your friends, hey, you know what? I'm tired and I want to let myself sleep. Because remember, focusing should be one of your main priorities, because if you know that one night, if you do not sleep well and you do not eat right or you don't work out well and you're not going to function the next day, you need to fix that. You can't just live life that way, because it'll bite you. If you are not focused and aware of things that are bringing you down, you're gonna be in for a rude awakening when you actually want to start following your dreams. Now, the third and final thing that I have for this book review is, wow, it's taking forever to get there, is the actual G code. But I have a paragraph I want to read to you, and then I'm going to explain to you what the actual G code is. Life is a lot like that, isn't it? Many of us want to go to the next level, but when we're faced with the big boss, we turn around and tuck our tail between our legs and run off like cowards. We tell ourselves that we want to solve problems, but we're not clear on what problems we can and can't solve. We're not clear on whether we're a problem solver or not. Maybe leveling up sounds cool, but we don't want to do what it takes to get there. So the 4 areas we're going to concentrate on correspond with the 4 areas of the G code. And that is gratitude, mindset, genetics, health and fitness, grind, business, and group. Family. 'Tis the reason, the G code. A lot of people say that they're not a morning person, but the reason they're not a morning person is because they're not grateful to be alive. They don't have a grateful mindset. As a matter of fact, if you're not grateful, then the rest of the stuff in your life won't matter, because if you're not grateful for what you have now, it doesn't matter how much more stuff you get, you won't be grateful for it either. So now, I've said that many times in my other videos, but also something I've mentioned in my other videos that I want you all to think about is, when I read these books and it says the same thing, like about being grateful for what you have now, the people that write these books, they realize that has helped them through their struggles and through their life, being grateful and creating value for what they had at the time to what they have now. See, these books is like the fundamentals of how you should view life. You have to be grateful for the things you have now, or you never will be. And it's not like, well, I don't like this. No, you have to be grateful for everything that God has given you right now. He says here, if you're not a morning person, but the reason you're not a morning person is because you're not grateful to be alive, you don't have a grateful mindset. He says they, but I chose you. But think about that. If you don't wake up in the morning, I mean, you're just like, It just astounds me how there are people who cannot get up early to go. My day starts at 6 in the morning. People have in their heads, hey, work starts at 6 tomorrow, but yet they still struggle to wake up and go to work the next day. If your day starts any earlier than 6 a.m., you have to get a good night's rest, and you have to be up early. Because you don't just get in your car and go to work. You should at least have a routine to wake yourself up. But that's kind of what I'm saying here, but also, when it comes to getting up in the morning, it's just important, because there's going to be a day, like when you want to follow your dreams, you're going to have to get up earlier, or you're going to have to stay up later in order to pursue your dreams. You're going to have a few extra hours throughout the day. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with taking a nap. Now, obviously, you can't take a nap if you work full time, but there's nothing wrong with taking 30 minutes to shut your eyes, because I personally feel that helps me, but when you wake up in the morning, and wake up on time. Now, obviously, the snooze is really hard to do, but sometimes if you have nothing going on, I understand that too. If you have nothing going on that day, you just want to let yourself sleep, fine. Hit the snooze and wake up later, but the point that I'm making here is you have to be very grateful that the Lord let you wake up this morning. So think about that. The Lord did not forget to wake you up this morning. So be very grateful He chose to let you wake up in a nice warm bed and a roof over your head. Be very grateful for that. For problem solving, I mean, you gotta have some ambition when you solve problems. Some are harder to solve than others. Like the maintenance world, there's problem solving everywhere. And, I mean, but this is also just in life. But when it comes to problem solving, you have to be ambitious and you have to be willing to work to solve problems. But solving problems as in, why aren't you focusing? Why do you keep giving into your distractions? Why do you keep cowering down from ideas? Like problem solving that way. And how you solve those problems is, well, get this, you view it differently. You view it differently and you try again. And you view it as trial and error just happens. And also, you view it as your focus is the only thing that matters. Remember, your focus is your power. Your focus is your power. Overall, this book was very, very good, and I want you all to read this book. I also want you all to follow the G code of gratitude, genetics, grind, and group. And this book I read a few years ago. I got it from a friend at the gym. And remember, at the end of the book, it shows you how to follow the G code. We'll review that at a later date, but if you choose to read it on your own, please be prepared to follow the G code, because I followed it for a little bit, and it changed my life. But also, just remember to focus. That is the takeaway for this video. Focus on everything around you, focus on your life, and focus on things that are holding you back. Now, I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you stay focused today, and most of all, I hope you have a great day today. Thank you.